This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you today by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. Glad you've joined us. You won't find another show in the metro area that talks about real estate, construction, business expansion, anything related to the metro becoming more vibrant, more prosperous, and a great place to work, live, and play. All right, with all that said, time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal-making machine and all-around good and well-known fellow, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff.
Well, good morning, Trenton. I've got some very good news for you today.
Love it.
That good news is the May 2024 construction update video by Brad Williams dropped last night. So you can see this. Brad does these videos periodically. They're sponsored by Leader Construction. It's only 7.5 minutes long, so you can get through it pretty quickly. It'll feel like it's about 2 minutes long because it's so fun to watch it. But he goes through and he looks at all these different construction projects around the area and shoots some video and explains them, and you got to go watch it. And the way you can see it, go to growomaha.com. Click on shows, SHOWS, on the navigation bar, and then there'll be a drop down of all of our radio shows. At the bottom, it says construction update. So nav bar, shows, construction update. You can enjoy seeing that. It's a lot of fun to watch.
It'll save you a lot of gas or electronic vehicle energy, and he explains it. Sometimes there's drones, sometimes there's videos, and it's a great resource, and you can kind of track what's going on in the metro area.
Well, before we get into the news, I do want to give you a little bit of a plug for what's coming up. We're going to be talking about growth and development in Council Bluffs and Pottawattamie County. Our guests will be the mayor of Council Bluffs, Matt Walsh, along with Paula Hazelwood. She is the CEO of Advance Southwest Iowa, which is the Economic Development Corporation for Pottawattamie County. But before we get into that, let's do our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. They know mortgages. And if you've checked the calendar recently, you know it's May. And so we're really coming into that prime time home buying season. If you're thinking about entering the fray, one of the first things you want to do is get a hold of Eagle Mortgage. You can call them, you can email them, you can stop by the office at 114th and Davenport, but you want to sit down and meet with them, talk about your situation. They're not a bank. They can shop the market. They can compare and contrast a variety of banks and find the best lending solution for you, the best lender for you, and get yourself a pre-approval letter, then go out and hopefully find your dream home. But they'll coach you and they'll work with you all the way, and we believe in them highly and recommend Eagle Mortgage. Okay, Trenton, looking at the news, first up, Children's Nebraska has held a topping out ceremony this week for the Behavioral Health Wellness Center, new mental health hospital that Children's is constructing on the west side of its campus, right around 85th and Dodge South Side. $110 million, 4-story building, and this thing's going to be spectacular and desperately needed.
That's a big one, and the governor was in, Governor Pillen and Mayor Stothard, and it's kind of a tradition where they take the last beam, the last piece of steel, and a lot of dignitaries and stakeholders sign the beam with well wishes, and they put it up.
And then the Omaha Streetcar Authority approved the procurement of 6 actual streetcars themselves. You can't have a streetcar system if you don't have the things that roll on the tracks. And this will be a $41 million purchase. They also approved $6.5 million for spare parts and tools and all the things that you need to have. The manufacturer is based in the nation of Spain, España. And this is the same company that provided modern streetcars for Kansas City and Cincinnati. And Trent, when you hear stories like this, it's getting closer.
It's becoming reality. Do you remember talking about this for the last, we've been on this show for 20 years, And we've talked about it for a lot longer than half.
Well, I 20 years ago, we would say to people, Omaha needs some public transit on rail downtown and a grocery store. We're getting one of those.
Yep.
And rumor has it that the other one might be around the corner as well.
But we'll still be on the air, ladies and gentlemen.
That's our plan. Additionally, the Streetcar Authority approved procurement of items requiring long lead times, like bridge girders to replace the Harney Street Bridge and the Farnham Street Bridge over I-480. So a lot of that stuff is really coming along, and it's getting close. Okay, pickleball courts are coming to Lewis and Clark Landing, one of the 3 riverfront parks. And this will be an area just north of the Kiewit Luminarium. It's essentially the final piece of the original $300 million riverfront park plan. And Trenton, I know, and I'm confident you'll get out there and play pickleball as soon as it opens.
You know it. You can't have enough pickleball courts.
I'll take you on. Okay, just as long as it wasn't like that day when we were in high school and you beat me in like pool and foosball and like ring toss all.
You got me back when you went to college and you were in a fraternity and you had a foosball table. When I came back from New Orleans at Tulane, I didn't stand a chance at foosball anymore.
I practiced foosball for an entire semester. Did a little bit of studying too, but practiced foosball for an entire semester just so I could beat Trent when he came back for a winter break.
Everybody loves knowing that.
District 66 plans to demolish the existing Westgate School building at 78th and Haskell Street and construct a new building. Not shocking news because schools are rehabbed and rebuilt periodically in the city. But I say this one in particular because while Westgate School was constructed in 1957, it was demolished, destroyed in the famous May 6, 1975 tornado. Trenton, this is proof that you and I, speaking of how we've known each other since we were kids, are becoming old men because you and I were in kindergarten when that tornado hit, and that was a brand new school. No, it's already being torn down.
And interestingly, my alma mater, Oakdale, up on Center Street, that's been replaced. Swanson's been replaced. I'm not sure if they've done a couple others, but this falls in line with the rest of them. Yeah,
it's District 66 really is doing a good job of keeping their elementary schools current and like Prairie Lane. I went to 2 District 66 elementary schools. One of them, Prairie Lane, they rebuilt that school not that long ago. And so, yeah, they're doing a good job of keeping everything fresh and up to date. Construction at Epley Airfield really coming along nicely. I was over there a few days ago, and it appears to me that the superstructure that will hold up the glass roof canopy over the pickup drop-off area appears to be all there now. And there's a lot of work still doing on the drive because they're modernizing the drop-off and pickup lanes, adding one. It's going to be a lot better. And the other thing is terminal work is full bore ahead. We've talked a few weeks ago about how they've removed some of the concrete on the north side and the east side of the airport building to get ready for the big expansion. I noticed I came through on, Tuesday night turned Wednesday morning, a little after midnight. And they're like taking stuff already out of the inside of the terminal, even HVAC work. So that thing is full speed ahead, coming along nicely.
Kudos to everyone down there because they've made the during the construction, going in the parking garage for drop off and pick up. They've made it really smooth.
I think the airport authority does an all-around outstanding job. I mean, it's just really everything about it is just very well managed. And this construction project so far seems to be very impressive with the way it's just thought through and the way it's being executed so far. $1 billion project. All right, finally, progress on the Baby Bob Bridge, which is a bridge to a bridge, if you think about it. But at any rate, it connects the Bob Carey Missouri River pedestrian bridge to North Downtown Charles Schwab Field. And if you haven't seen it lately, it's awesome looking project.
Brad Williams has done an amazing job taking pictures of that and memorializing it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, go take a look at him. He has 4 pictures that he shot, just a few days ago, and really gives you a good idea. So just go to Facebook and search for Omaha, and you'll see Brad's photos there. They're still saying October for a completion date, but gosh, to me, it seems like it's ahead of schedule for that, but we'll see.
It's pretty cool.
And that's your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. We're going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Council Bluffs Mayor Matt Walsh, along with Paula Hazelwood, CEO of Advance Southwest Iowa. We're going to talk about growth and development in Council Bluffs and Pottawattamie County. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
16th Minute of Fame.
So is it a couple or a few days
hosted
ago?
by me, Jamie
Couple few.
Loftus. And
A couple few days?
Couple few.
Six. At an internet character of the day.
It means
Bean
I'm
Dad,
hedging.
The dress.
I'm hedging my bet a little bit and giving myself options, not locking myself in.
So it just seems like everybody needs their $100 and something million projects.
Yeah.
They're just,
But everything costs. I told somebody that. I said it's 80 to 100 million. They said 80 to 100 million. I said everything costs 80 to 100.
Jeff uses a great. Give you a reference for Traverse Canyon.
I can't. Well, okay, two things. First of all, when the entire ConAgra project and the Heartland Park and all that was done in 1988, 89, and they tore down 22 buildings, which turned out to be a mistake, and did all that, $60 million. Now that doesn't even buy you 1/10 of a Mutual Omaha skyscraper.
When I was a banker, I said if I did $1 million loan, I walked around for a year, did nothing.
Yeah.
I was the king.
Yeah.
Now you can't do a Morton building for $1 million.
Well, this is the other thing I was going to say. This is what I cannot figure out. The 3-story addition to the Holland Center. That's an ASCA Center for the Performing Arts. 3 stories. 3 stories. Not a huge footprint. 3 stories. Well over $100 million.
Crazy.
How? How? I mean, even with today's prices, I just can't. Are they going to like have? Are they going to
Include
plate the walls with
operations.
gold?
Yeah.
100. Oh, it's well north.
Here's
of
my
$100.
inflation story. 4 years ago, we bought a fire truck, $880,000.
Wow.
It rained, torrential rain, and 911 says, don't go Broadway, take the side road, fire truck down and low. Fills with water, shuts down. Engineer pushes the button, shorts everything out. We settle with the insurance company, take a $200,000 loss. Less than a year old. Order the same truck, and I will say it's a different company, but it's the same truck.
Tired of walking into a dull and
$1.5 million.
Wow.
It takes them a year to build it
It doubled.
because they custom build them for everybody. We go to pick it up a year later, and the company says, wow, did you get a deal? That truck costs $2,250,000 today.
You're kidding.
4 years.
We had the same truck for $800,000.
4 years.
Wow, did you get a deal?
There you go.
That's crazy.
So
we do not need to do these.
No. Oh, and when you both talk, you're gonna have to kind of
Yep, there we go.
right up to the mic.
That's what I was gonna.
You okay there, Chris?
Listen on our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports, talk, and podcasts. Free never
You don't
sounded
talk in the
so
microphone
good.
rather than look at us.
And Grow Omaha back on the air. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics. Cheer Athletics is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. All-star is a type of competitive cheer and generally considered kind of the best for the all-around experience for the young athletes. But the Omaha location of Cheer Athletics is located in Papillion, just southwest of Highways 50 and 370. Trenton and I know the owners personally, outstanding people who are very committed to developing kids, giving them a great experience, learning them communication, leadership skills, competition. These kids that participate in cheer athletics have amazing levels of fitness, and we highly recommend it. If you're interested, just go to caomaha.com, CA as in cheer athletics, caomaha.com, and you can get yourself started. Well, we have with us Matt Walsh, Mayor of Council Bluffs, and Paula Hazelwood, who is the CEO of Advance Southwest Iowa, the Economic Development Corporation in Pottawattamie County. Mayor and Paula, welcome to the show.
Morning.
Good to have you both with us. And I guess I like to start these conversations out with a big, broad question, and that is the 30,000-foot view of the state of growth and development in Council Bluffs. And since we'll start specifically with Council Bluffs, we'll have the mayor first, and then Paula, we'll have you kind of talk countywide. But Mayor, your 30,000-foot view of the state of growth and development in Council Bluffs.
You know, I think things are going really well right now. We've got a lot of activity, but the state of Iowa, in and of itself, needs to figure out their tax structure. Nebraska is going through the same thing. With property taxes, especially on commercial buildings, are high. It's a long story that goes back to 1031 tax exchanges and investors putting money in agricultural ground and Farm Bureau complaining, and it just snowballed, and somebody's got to get a hold of it and figure it out. We have worked really well on our income tax structure, and I think we're very competitive for commercial income taxes.
So, as a practitioner of commercial real estate in Iowa, and particularly Council Bluffs, I have noticed that real estate taxes can be a lot higher in Council Bluffs than in Omaha. However, didn't they do something about 5-10 years ago on apartments where they transitioned them?
So they were considering apartments to be commercial buildings, and you really got to go back to the story of why it got so high, but they uncoupled apartments from commercial and put it at the residential rate, and that reduced. What they do is they roll back the percent valuation of your property that's taxable. Currently, it's about 46%. So if you
they did it over like 10-year period.
Yeah, and it's fully implemented now. And so, and actually, I dealt with an apartment developer on a TIF question, and I said, I don't think we need to subsidize the TIF level we had previously, because now residential apartment complexes have been reduced down in their taxable value. But so I did the analysis for him, and there's an intangible in there, and that's how the assessor treats the valuation. And I think the Douglas County assessor is a little softer on valuation than the Pottawattamie County assessor. And how do you balance that out? Because, as you know, appraisal's not a science, it's an art.
Yeah, and from a commercial real estate standpoint, that's certainly a consideration, whether it's base rent, taxes, insurance. When they're writing a check to the landlord, that's certainly a consideration. And in order to retain tenants, we've got to keep those operating expenses lower. But
especially when you break them out, you say, here's your lease, but here's your CAM charge, and that CAM charge jumps out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, especially taxes.
Paula, let's talk a little bit about the economic conditions and the state of growth and development in Pottawattamie County in general.
So this is my 8th year. This is my 8th year as the CEO for Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, and I've consistently been pleased with the development and the growth that we've experienced. When I first accepted this job, we really only covered Council Bluffs. It was just me, one employee. But in 2018, we were asked by the county to actually take over the economic development for the full county, and so I have an employee that covers the rural communities out there. But we have consistently stayed busy, and even when COVID hit, we had about 50 projects in our active pipeline. We track everything, as you can imagine, as economic developers, and I kept kind of waiting for it to level out or even decline a little bit, and it never really did. We got even busier during COVID, the 3 years that people were really working, from home. We got even busier. And the projects that we had in our pipeline, we didn't have one of them that fell off. I mean, and some of them we are actually still working on. So we're diverse, and we've got a good mix of industry verticals, which I'm super happy about. And partially our projects are coming to us differently these days. So we work with a lot of site selection consultants, as you can imagine. But we have gotten more and more leads directly from our real estate community, which we appreciate, but then also the end user directly. So the tides have changed somewhat in economic development from when I first started.
So, Paul, your primary responsibility, your focus is on Pottawattamie County and Council Bluffs. But you're part of Select Greater Omaha, and you're part of the Omaha Chamber affiliation as well. Explain how that works and what makes our metropolitan area unique when it comes to economic development.
Correct. So we are part of the Greater Omaha Economic Development Partnership and have been since 2013, which is a 2-state, 8-county regional economic development initiative. And so we primarily, Advanced Southwest Iowa Corporation, primarily focuses just on Pottawattamie County. But we interact with all of our partners within the organization, and really, we focus not only on new to market projects, but also obviously growing our existing business base here. And so, when we have projects come in to the Omaha Chamber, it's kind of a mixed bag, because some companies only want to be in Nebraska. Other companies are open, obviously, to be in for Iowa and Nebraska to be considered. So it just depends on the project, how we interact with our other partners, specifically the Omaha Chamber. But we collaborate on a day-to-day basis.
And a win for Iowa is a win for Nebraska.
Absolutely. The mayor and I were just talking about that on the ride over. I mean, we are a region for a purpose. We share workforce. The commutes are very, very easy. We have a lot of amenities, that are available in Omaha, in Council Bluffs, and some of our rural communities, partner communities. And so we want to celebrate all of those jointly, and obviously be able to, talk openly about, what's in each area. But yes, that's absolutely correct.
What are some of the economic development announcements that have occurred, just a couple of them in Pottawattamie County over the last couple of years, that stand out to you?
I would say one of the biggest ones that we worked on, and I believe we started working with them in 2020, late 2020, maybe early 2021. But IceCap Cold Storage Facility was one of them, and we started working with them, and as you know, kind of that warehouse distribution verticals changed a little bit during COVID. Still seeing, a little bit of various trends with that, but IceCap actually came in, started working with us and with the city. And, I always like to preface every project that I work on, specifically in Council Bluffs, the city staff, the mayor and his team are obviously involved with. But we started working with them. We had a couple of challenges to overcome, but they ended up buying a rail serve site in Council Bluffs for a 2-phase project. And so they began their construction. Phase 1 was completed. And then very rapidly, it wasn't planned that quickly, but very rapidly, then they launched into phase 2, and that construction is just being cleaned or finished right now.
And what's the location of that? South 24th Street, or?
No, they are actually off of 16th Avenue over there. So kind of where the Union Pacific Railroad yard is, kind of over in that area, off of like 23rd.
I was impressed. Another project was the Opus buildings, right? Interstate 80, I-29, Mayor. A couple of big warehouses that were leased right away.
I think coming out of COVID, when businesses were adversely affected, they were so used to just-in-time inventory ordering, having it on site a couple days after they ordered it. And when that couldn't happen coming out of COVID, then there was a reaction in the market to start building warehousing in strategic areas that in our advantage is that we are on Interstate 80 and 29, and so you can go east, west, north, south out of Council Bluffs. That seems to have softened a little lately, but for a while we had lots of logistic companies.
All right, we're talking with the mayor of Council Bluffs, Matt Walsh, and Paula Hazelwood, CEO of Advanced Southwest Iowa Economic Development Corporation. We're going to take our middle of the show break for the news, but when we come back, we're going to talk about housing projects in the Council Bluffs, future growth plans, and maybe even streetcar crossing the river and going into Council Bluffs. A lot more to come. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Cheer Athletics and Dingman's Collision Center on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Does it go fast? Does it go fast?
It goes super fast.
Here we are already in the second half of the hour.
When you talk about the streetcar taking so long, projects just take forever. We were in Coralville for League of Cities, and they were touring this First Avenue district where they have Von Maur and University Hospital.
It's a nice area.
Yeah. And this lady said to the mayor of Coralville, who's a friend of mine, said, "This just happened overnight." He leaned over and said, "We started in 1988.
A lot of people at this meeting weren't born yet.
Yeah.
When this thing started. Yeah, Coralville's doing great, and they did the freeway, that freeway interchange there. It looks really good. And there's that by that Von Mar and all that. There's I did a speech a year or two ago or something like that at a great hotel.
Yeah, nice hotel. They got a hockey rink.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Like a big brand that was a Hyatt Regency or something.
Yes.
Yeah, big brand.
They got condos and apartments.
Yeah, I like that area.
I find it unique that only Waterloo and Council Bluffs has a strong mayor form of government. Not Des Moines.
Oh, Des Moines doesn't have a strong mayor?
And no,
Really?
and I don't think it. I've been advocating to get rid of it in Council Bluffs. You know, you elect somebody on a popular vote who has no business background.
Yeah.
It's $190 million annual budget.
Yeah.
10 different departments.
It's a big company.
Yeah, it's a big company, and and we have no recall. You're stuck with somebody for 4 years.
We're stuck with you?
Yeah, they're stuck with me.
Are you up again? Or?
Not till I'm on the same schedule Gene is, so next year.
Would you care to make your re-election announcement?
I'm getting old and my shelf life's running out.
This is it?
And I don't know.
Oh, okay.
There's nobody to run.
Yeah, so you might have to do it?
Yeah. And nobody's got the political capital to push the streetcar through or sell the golf course.
Well, that's just it. If there's a lot of stuff you want to see to fruition, you kind of feel like you almost have to do it.
But then when is the cutoff?
Yeah.
Because then 4 years from now, there'll be something else.
Yeah.
Well, I had lunch yesterday with Doug Kindig in La Vista. Same, running on a post. Mike Evans told me, it's like with that good life and everything that's going on with it.
Don't just mean our own.
He's like,
helping you make the most
the car's moving at 75 miles an hour, and I can't jump off. It's like,
well, the thing is, if you're enjoying it, I mean, I'm sure it has its down days, but if you're mostly enjoying it,
people are so mean though anymore.
I bet you do get some horrible.
Well, it's so well. Then when it comes to social media, people think that even when their name is on it, that they're not responsible for what they say.
But after COVID, they didn't even. So I always said, people say shit on social media they wouldn't say to your face. Post COVID, they walk right up and tell you.
Yeah.
Just go, really? Okay.
It's like they're desensitized, but it's like they're like, I'm working my butt off here and doing this, and I can't please all the people.
Yeah. No, it's interesting.
He's a mayor that actually responds.
I blame my thick skin on my first marriage, but
yeah. She taught you something.
Yeah.
Service members that are working on the pier and humanitarian aid organizations and workers helping with.
I kind of like having me part of me hidden.
Do you have
top priority?
If I could get this mic to be where I wanted it to be.
You can throw about 8 inches off it.
Yeah.
What about you got your noddle?
Yeah. We're gonna do.
You won't turn to the other side of you?
Nah, because I'm facing this way. I don't want to be
Now,
like
the
this.
News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather
I
Watch.
think they like me better if I'm partially obstructed.
With this A talent,
Chris,
prima donnas.
remember who you're talking to. Move the camera.
After 1 p.m. on Sunday with a high of 81. Showers until the storm overnight.
Do you know who I am?
Better by now.
Storms with a high of 82.
I made myself famous.
We have over 1,000 shows.
I made myself famous last week with that horrible
20 years.
1,000 weekends.
I had people coming up to me at church the next day like, man, are you okay?
January 10th, 2004. Yeah. For the last couple of weeks, he had just a hoarse voice.
Thank you for listening.
And Scott Voorhees was one of the we'll be back with
I've been wanting to do one.
and Trent Maggin.
If you're gonna say it,
Then he called himself
thanks
Jr.
Thanks for listening.
You have to really emphasize the thanks.
Because you have done that to me so many times over the years, and I finally got it. Like I
It's hard
asked
for I
Raj
always try to make him
something
laugh,
that would be on the radio.
I'll put my
Like, thanks
hand
for
on his
listening.
leg.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, Raj. Actually, last week I'm glad you didn't.
I don't
I was
remember.
like this.
I don't remember why I didn't. I do listen. And I am reading the newsletter more regularly after you pointed out
Thanks, man.
my not reading it.
Yeah. We can tell who opens our newsletter. Just Jeff can.
Y'all keep that in mind. I go through it and I'm like, let's see if the mayor
I
of
get
Council
called out.
Bluffs opened my newsletter
Mayor
this week.
Council Bluffs reads it.
I do too.
Let's see if the head of Advanced Southwest Iowa read it this week. I can see all that.
I plucked
But
a
you can
couple
see
things
if
out.
someone just opens if they just open their email, you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah, good. I can see how many times.
You can see what pages they go
I
to.
can see how long it takes Trent before he reads it.
Yeah.
This week, I'm looking for a new Mexican restaurant, so I looked at the
1,000.
Ghost Donkey, and
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that one.
so I checked the menu, and then I found out I was in Denver or something. So
Yeah. Chris is doing restaurant reviews now. Down at, tell him about the pizza place.
Dolomiti?
Yeah, Dolomiti. That's down at the Lower Commons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, over at Coneflower and everything. So that's close to you guys.
Really good.
Enoteca.
Which is where that Ghost Donkey's going.
No, it's going to be by Memoir, by Conagra.
Oh, is it?
campus, Yeah.
All those flagship restaurants, you know, with Blue and Planet.
Yeah.
You did salty dog and something else. Someone did.
That would be Sarah.
That was
Sarah.
was
Yeah,
right
that was
before.
Sarah.
She's still
Yeah.
doing her reading.
She went to Flatwater Free Press, so Chris has taken over for us, and so yeah, she did Salty Dog
And another one too. I just can't remember.
in Council Bluffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, recently, I think.
Yeah, she's done at least a couple others in Council Bluffs over the years, I think.
Yeah.
So we don't speak of her ever again.
Yeah. Sarah, yeah.
Who?
Sarah, if you're listening,
Exactly.
you're dead to us.
No, she's a nice lady. She went to go work with her husband, and there's a place for everyone. We have a different angle.
I got a friend who has a couple places, and he opened one down by TD Ameritrade.
10? Okay.
The World Herald hit it.
Killed it.
2 weeks after it opened and killed it. Just terrible.
The editorial pen.
Yeah, and then some poor guy, his follow-up job is we can send you a copy of the article.
Like, no thanks.
Yeah, I think it was worse than that.
Broke it all down, had great conversation. Find it on the Emery Sunder podcast page at KFAB.com.
New York Times.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals sitting next to Trenton Magid. We're brought to you by Cheer Athletics, as well as Dingman's Collision Center. 4 metro area locations for Dingman's, by the way. 120th and Maple, downtown Papillion, Saddle Creek Road, Midtown, and 144th and L.
More to come.
It's time for our, which we're excited to hear details about that. It's time for our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. They are perhaps the most famous real estate developer in town. You know, they do a lot of projects nationwide, but here in Omaha, Exarban Village, River's Edge and Council Bluffs, Village Point Medical Center in West Doe, and so many other projects. They've done a lot of headquarters buildings like Valmont, HDR, and countless others. And then Exarban Village, is probably their most famous. But we have some news coming out of the Builders District, which is the Noddle Company's project just a little bit west of Charles Schwab Field in North Downtown. The Urban Land Institute Kansas City chapter is going to do a tour and showcase event on May 21st for the brand new 4-story office building that Noddle Companies did in the Builders District. The address is 1501 Mike Fahey Street, and this is Nebraska's first cross-laminated timber building. Translated into English, that means there's actually wood supports in there instead of just all metal and concrete, and you can see those beautiful vertical wood supports when you're walking through the building. Also in the Builders District, which is that area, like I said, north of 480, west of Charles Schwab Field. The Saul's Jewelry and Loan buildings have been vacated. Saul's has moved to 22nd and Harney, and plans are in the works to redevelop all that area as part of the Builders District. That's coming along. It's very early, but eventually you'll see those old vacated Saul's buildings in North Downtown. That means coming down to the ground. And that's your Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. Thank you to Noddle Companies for sponsoring us, and you can learn more about all that they do at noddlecompanies.com. We have with us the mayor of Council Bluffs, Matt Walsh, and Paula Hazelwood, CEO of Advanced Southwest Iowa. And Mayor Walsh, I kind of want to talk a little bit about city housing projects that are underway in Council Bluffs.
Yeah, we, like everywhere across the country, post-2008 real estate crash, we had an active builder's market prior to that, and a lot of people left the business. And while we have people building homes in Council Bluffs, not to the extent that they were. And unfortunately, at this point, we think we have about 1% vacancy in rental property, which is good for people that want to build multifamily. They fill up quick. They're successful for people. The interest rate's a little higher, but I don't think you ever get a market where you can be 100% occupied in a matter of months after opening your doors. But we also have a dearth of owner-occupied, and so we need builders to build. I was surprised the other day. I got a call from one of the local media stations that said that after the Census Bureau, that the population of Council Bluffs had gone down 341 people. And I know, they did the census during COVID, and so they did the mail out. But I know people that were hired that were going to work the census, doing the boots on the ground, door knocking to follow up on those who didn't respond. And the response rate's usually about 55-60% to the first mailing. And so I went to research, and the Census Bureau reports 99.9% of the people return their mailed out requests. And I went, wow, you got to be a little more creative with your...
37% of statistics are made up.
Yeah.
I thought it was 38.
Yeah, it could be 38.
Yeah, by the way, not to go off on a tangent with that, but I saw that report as well, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the Census Bureau even said the city of Gretna had a decline in population. It's the fastest growing city in the state of Nebraska. Yeah. That was asinine.
And it's important stuff because that's where federally funding and state funding get allocated based on population. When you buy gas at the gas pump, the state collects it and then reallocates it back out to communities based on their population. So if you got less population, you get less money. It's a bad scenario.
Mayor, let's talk a little bit about the streetcar. Trent and I have been talking about the streetcar a lot because we're so excited about what it's going to do for repopulation of urban centers and commercial real estate and residential real estate development. What do you think about? We've heard about these plans to extend it into Council Bluffs. Trent and I love the idea. Where are we at with that, and what's the feasibility long term?
So, as you alluded to earlier, it's been a conversation that's gone on for a decade, if not decades, and we've been on trips to look at other communities that have put in streetcar, Salt Lake, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Kansas City, and without exception, we just got back from North Carolina. Without exception, it's like watering the desert. Residential housing grows because developers can give their clients an amenity they can't get anywhere else. And then those ancillary businesses that serve dense populated areas, bars, restaurants, dry cleaners, pop up along the streetcar line. I think people misinterpret that it's primarily a human transportation vehicle. It's an economic development vehicle that secondary provides easy, convenient transportation to the surrounding neighborhoods. And Council Bluffs has a unique advantage, we think, in that when our founding fathers platted the ground, they were real creative. Everything north was A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Everything south was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, First Avenue, the first block off of Broadway, served an industrial area that no longer exists with rail. And so it was a rail line, never developed as a street. There's no longer industrial there, so the railroads abandoned it, removed the tracks, and we have a 66-foot wide clear span. So we don't have to tear up streets, put in new infrastructure. People put in new infrastructure because they worry that after the streetcar starts running, they're going to have to tear it up to fix something, so they want to put in everything new. It's expensive, and we can do it without the expense. The one unusual expense, how do we get across the river? And so where we are now is we're doing a Pell study, planning environmental linkages. It's the first step in recognizing whether or not we qualify for federal funding. And Council Bluffs does not have as many affluent residents as Omaha does, and so we will heavily rely on federal funding if we can do it. And it's not a given. We're studying it. We think we can do it. We have a plan. We put in a bike trail along that clear span that, if you look at it at the busy intersections, easily doubles as streetcar station stops. But it's a ways away. It's years away.
But it's worth the discussion.
It's definitely worth the discussion. I laughed. Somebody wrote a letter to the editor the other day and said, Council Bluffs never changes anything. They're still waiting for General Dodge to come back, and now they want to put a streetcar in. And I'm going, wait a minute. Aren't those contradictory terms?
Now, I'd be pretty impressed if General Dodge came back, and so would the Dodge family, if I could speak on their behalf. We got 1 minute left, Paula. I want you to kind of maybe finish up with where we're going with future development in the Council Bluffs area and all of Pottawattamie County.
Well, we do have a lot going on, certainly. We did recently completed a city-county joint land use study, which really gives us a roadmap. But the city has added on top of that a sewer study, sanitary sewer study. So marking, different paths for growth. I mean, obviously, being a river community, we only have a few areas that we can grow in. So certainly looking at those areas, and I do believe we'll continue to chart the path for economic development in the future. But a lot of really interesting and fun things going on right now, not only for economic development, but quality of life pieces. Obviously, as the mayor talked about, housing, all of that jointly goes together to be a good economic development community and region. So
keep up the good work, you two. And I know you have teams behind you, but you've been dedicated. You've been mayor since 2011, correct?
2013.
2013, okay. 11 years, that's right. And but you've been involved with the city council since, what, 96?
Yeah. So this is my 29th year in elected office.
All right. Well, we greatly appreciate both of you joining us. Mayor Matt Walsh of Council Bluffs and Paula Hazelwood of Advanced Southwest Iowa. Appreciate you bringing us up to date. We'll do it again in the future.
awesome. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, our pleasure. Going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be time for the Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list. A lot on there. It'll be hard to get through all of it. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
You're welcome to hang, or if you want to go, you can
Wonderful
go.
stuff.
Yes, good stuff.
But I got a question for you off the record after this.
There's kind of a rush because at some point Douglas County's going to run out of ground.
Oh,
Right,
gosh.
no question.
And it's coming up fast.
And it's
I
coming
remember we was talking about it in the industry 20 years ago.
And so
And at the time, we're like,
Sarby's doing their thing, and we're doing our thing to try and get that spillover. And
yeah, Douglas County is, it's getting close. If you one of my favorite things to do is to drive around and look at construction, and you can drive all those streets between Elkhorn and Bennington, and they are filling up.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
And there are places, there are a lot of places in West Omaha where you're already up against the Elkhorn Bluff line.
yeah, I don't know if the Nebraska legislature will change that, but we can annex across county lines.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Okay.
And the counties don't care because the county government, because they get there.
They still get their
Right.
piece of it.
And frankly, if you annex some of the area, they don't have to worry about it anymore, right?
The one thing I thought was interesting was
Because your
Bill and
police and everything
sales
take
tax
care of it.
deal. They're
Yes,
saying
anyways,
that
yep.
counties don't get any sales tax revenue, and so they'll lose property tax, but not get any replacement
City sales
revenue.
tax.
I guess I never really thought of that.
Visit Dingmans.com. That's Dingmans.com for the top choice in collision repair.
You want to stay, or you?
Oh, we'll probably.
Yeah, very
You're welcome to
nice.
stick
I'm
around.
gonna
Nice
walk
to
out
see
with
you.
you. I got a question.
Thank you so much.
Well, after the show, I want to hear what this question is. You got to tell me when the camera's off. Good to see you. Paula,
Thank
it's
you,
always good to
Jeff.
see you.
Good to
Thanks
see
so
you.
much. Matt, thank you so much. Always good to
thank
see you.
you. Always
Okay,
good.
we'll talk to you guys soon. Let's do it again next year or even next fall if there's some stuff to talk about.
All right, we'll do.
All right, see you guys. Have a good weekend.
Cheer Athletics Omaha. You have an athlete.
I'm just curious. I'm curious what he's asking him. I want to hear. I just heard off the record.
Athlete ever considered joining All-Star Cheer? We offer regional, and national co-ed teams that compete
Talk
with the best
quietly,
teams.
Trenton.
Go to caomaha.com and come join the
Close the door.
Cheer Athletics, where champions are made.
News Radio 1110 KFAB is free and convenient on our iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good.
A little under 6 minutes.
Sports, talk, and podcasts.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here. It is time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. Thanks to Perkins Kreitzer Construction for making this possible. Last week we told you that they were working on some Jersey Mike's locations. Well, they just opened a Jersey Mike's in Metro Crossing in Council Bluffs. Metro Crossing is that huge retail development that is southwest of the I-29, I-80 interchange. I guess the eastern of the two I-80, I-29 interchanges there. And that Jersey Mike's is just one of many projects that PC Construction does. They do big projects like renovating the Miracle Hills Park Shopping Center on the west side of 114th, and they do restaurants like the aforementioned Jersey Mike's. And if you're thinking about doing a construction project, you want to work with Perkins Kreitzer Construction. Dave Kreitzer and his team there do a great job, and we appreciate them making the lightning round possible. Well, Ghost, Donkey, and Champong Lanes, two concepts from Omaha-based flagship restaurant group, are coming to the Brick Line at the Mercantile Building near 10th and Harney Street. Opening getting really close. I want to congratulate Inkwell. That's a very cool cocktail bar in Countryside Village. They appear to be opening a location in Chicago's Fulton Market neighborhood. Stories Coffee plans to open a standalone drive-through location in the Blend Food Hall, the former Blend Food Hall it is, 107th and Q. That was a short-lived drive-through only place that had a bunch of different restaurant concepts into it. Stories is taking it over. Opening is planned for early July, depending on weather and permitting. You have Little King Deli and Subs plans to open this spring really soon. It's getting quite close. It's southwest of 144th and Dodge in the Heartwood Preserve area. This is right in front of the recently relocated Mahogany Prime Steakhouse, if you can picture that, and kind of that west of Boys Town area. Little King's currently has 6 Omaha locations.
Fun to see its resurgence.
It is. It reminds me of being a kid going to Little King.
So the number 11, Road Street.
Amen. A Foreign Taste, which is a fine dining restaurant at 142nd and Fort Street, plans to transition to an events-only venue starting June 2nd. To kick things off, the restaurant will host its first pop-up event with James Beard-nominated chef Clayton Chapman on May 31st and June 1st. It's going to be a 6-course culinary event. Table Coffee Company moved a couple doors to the west in the old market. They're now in the former Stokes Southwestern restaurant space at 1122 Howard Street. They previously were a couple doors to the east. And Red Lobster suddenly closed dozens of locations nationwide, including the Council Bluffs location at 3040 Dial Drive. Tastes are changing.
Have you noticed there's some national articles about that? And they've had struggles, but they've done this all-you-can-eat shrimp or lobster, whatever they do, and they underestimate it, that their customers come in there and they lose money on those campaigns.
Those chain restaurants of all stripes and variety and sizes are typically struggling these days. The Foaling Warehouse, a mashup between football and bowling, is nearing completion of construction 2 blocks north of 90th and Fort. It's in a 50,000 square foot space, 30 lanes of foaling. You literally throw a football at the pins instead of rolling a bowling ball.
Who has to set them back up? That's what I want to know.
Glad it's not you and me. 2 full bars and a dedicated meeting space. This is a really, really cool thing, getting very close to opening. The Foaling Warehouse, when it actually does open, we will keep you up to date on that. Crumble Cookies opened yesterday at 10407 South 15th Street in Bellevue. People love those gourmet cookies.
The third one, at least.
Yeah, no, there's one in 168th and Center, Maple. I believe there's one in Papillion as well that we reported on, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they're really spreading around pretty fast. An event center at 1002 Dodge, so the northwest corner of 10th and Dodge Street downtown, is finding new life as Capital Arcade. This is going to be a kind of like an upper scale bar arcade concept, kind of an arcade for grown-ups, if you will. It's from the same people that own the Fat Putter, which is a very popular indoor golf and lounge entertainment thing at 10th and Capitol downtown. This new Capitol Arcade is going to be 8,000 square feet, and it's scheduled to open in July.
Who would have thought?
People are going to love that place.
Yeah, that guy's doing really well.
And that guy is Tim Worley, if I remember correctly. He also has a prehistoric putt, which is in September going to open in the former Nobby's location in Bel Air Plaza.
Which will have is it a Moots Pizza? Is that who's going in there?
I'm not sure about that, or is that
the other one?
There's one in
not Moots.
Yeah, I don't.
Izzy's?
I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not
I'll get
sure.
back to you on that.
But pizza and indoor golf sounds pretty good. I think everyone would love that. Backline Comedy Club at 16th and Harney Street in the historic Keyline building is seeking approval for a sidewalk patio. Since acquiring the building, Shamrock Development has made a lot of updates, and now a sidewalk patio going in.
That's a cool place.
Music's playing. We are done. Hope everyone has a great week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggie.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
It's a wrap.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.